Alrighty, we are live. I'll say hi to everybody here quick and get over to the stove. I got that pan warming up. It's on low, but I don't want to overheat it. Just saw a comment from Cynthia. Got a weird number 8 on Saturday. Never heard or seen anything like it. Across the top says cast iron cooking ware. Under that, the word size 8. And down at 6 o'clock is a S-2338-1. Under that, Detroit, USA. I've seen those before. I forget the exact name of the company that made them. A lot of times you'll see them plated as well, usually like a chrome or a nickel plating on them. And yeah, they're neat pans. You know, they're an interesting thing. I think they were might be Kalamazoo Ironworks, Kalamazoo Stoveworks that made them. I forget exactly who I used to know, but yeah, they're cool. They're a nice find. But anyway, I'll say a hi quick to Jim, Billy Lee, Fuzz Fork, Gary, Cynthia. Good to see you guys. I think that's about it right now. Everybody else will show up here quick. Cast Iron Restore, good to see you. Let me get this back down to the bottom so it keeps up, even though I can't see it from over by the stove. And I'll get over by the stove. That's warming up pretty good. Anyway, see as how I got this fancy schmancy Wisconsin shaped cast iron pan. Let me get on my own light a little bit there. Got this nice fancy Wisconsin shaped pan. What more could you ask than to make brats in it? I was going to get some homemade brats from my meat guy, but he had a big run on them over the weekend, and he won't have any more made until tomorrow, so I had to go with store-bought. If you're going to go with store-bought brats, about the best ones are Johnsonville. I really like those. Some of the other ones are okay, but they got kind of a weird flavor to them. They're just not as good as the Johnsonville ones. Let me see here. I'm going to turn the heat up on this. Get it all hotted up. I got some nice homemade sauerkraut. Got some buns there. Where's my bread knife? That's not my bread knife. That is. I'll need him later. Get these guys underway. Might even have a beer with this. Because, hey, Wisconsin. I can't quite see my comments. That's getting warmer. Let me grab my glasses. Maybe I can see them with those. Problem with reading glasses, you're either just a little too close or just a little too far away if you're not actually reading something. I can kind of see them. Yeah, Johnsonville's are good brats. Like I said, I would have rather had nice homemade ones because my meat guy makes a hell of a good brat. Makes some of the best hot dogs around too. Yeah, that's good, not. Anyway, even though you get a fair bit of grease and oil from your brats, I always grease the pan a little bit first. Just put in a good dab of clarified butter or something. Keeps it from sticking when you first throw them in, because they will stick down. Get that melted up nice. A lot of people will parboil their brats first, get them half cooked, and then just brown them up in a pan. Brats don't really take all that long to cook, so I just fry them up right out of the pan, and away you go. I'll start them off fairly high, and then I'll turn them down after they sear a bit and cook them through. But we got those started. I'll come back over here. And once the brats get going, I can come back over here where I can actually see the comments and take a look at these. Old style goes good with them too. Yeah, you don't really see old style anymore. Heileman Brewing went out of business a while ago. New York pan is about a number 5 size in volume. How big would you say is that? I'd say it's about the same. You know, probably roughly number 5 as far as volume goes. You can get 3 brats in it to start with. You could probably put a 4th one in once they shrink down a little bit. But 3 seems to work pretty good. Famous for beer, cheese, and serial killers? You bet. We got some of the best serial killers around here. They usually take a hell of a good mugshot, too. Did you get to watch Louis cooking on Wagner Ware Griddle? No, I didn't get a chance to watch him. I've been busier than hell over the past weekend. It was nice and cool outside this weekend, which was nice because it's been miserably hot and humid for the last couple of weeks. Settled down a bit and got some stuff done. But it's going to start warming up and getting humid again through the rest of the week. Cowgirl Drew, howdy. Good to see you. Once we get the brats done, get settled in here, a couple of things I wanted to show you. Been doing some cleaning and seasoning and running the hell out of my electrolysis tank because I got a bunch of stuff that's all stripped down but still needs to get derusted a bit and seasoned up. But anyway, once those brats get a little farther along, I'll show you what I'm working on here lately. It's been somewhat tolerating there, but still, yeah. Like I said, we had a few nice days, fairly cool. Did I remove the casing? No. Why would I do that? You can get like bulk sausage type bratwurst patties, and those are good. But yeah, I'm just going to go with regular bratwurst. Those sound like they're about ready to flip over. Where'd my tongs go? Yeah, they're not stuck. Yeah, I'm browning up nice. Probably turn it down just a little bit. I had you at bratwurst. Yeah, brats are damn good. Like I said, homemade would have been nice, but he's out until tomorrow, so got to make do with what I can. I like your brats with fried cabbage and onions. I don't know about the onions, but fried cabbage sounds good. And I got my homemade sauerkraut there. That makes some damn good sauerkraut. You can see my fermentation crock sitting there. Got a batch of crock pickles going in that. And those will be done, let's see, either next weekend or the weekend after. I'll have to wait until I'm off for the weekend to can them up. But I did a video getting them into the crock and getting them that far, so should be good. They're nice fermented pickles. Sounds good. Just onions for you. You're allergic. Well, that's a shame. Brats just ain't right without sauerkraut on them. Yeah, homemade sauerkraut, no less, Chris. That was the first batch I tried in that fermentation crock, and it really works good. You can see next to it that gallon jar with the airlock on top of it. I've used that in the past, but I always wanted a fermentation crock. You can see the lid sits on there, and there's a gutter that the lid sits in. You fill that gutter with water. It keeps air out of your stuff that you're fermenting, but it'll let any gas escape. And those probably about due to flip again. I should probably stay over there, but you want to try and fry them as best you can on all four sides. It's kind of hard with the curve in them, but that pan actually works really good for that because they'll stay up on the curved side really nice. You can kind of lean it against the sides of the pan. You cook your sausages to about 175 or 80. Yeah, I like mine done. Really brown them up good. But there's really, brats aren't really all that big. If you think of it as frying a steak, it doesn't really take much longer to fry up some brats as it does to fry up a steak. They're about the same thickness as most decently sized steaks. You found the number 4 large block Griswold. Kind of crusty, but in the tank. Keeping your fingers crossed. Oh, here's hoping it turns out good. I like finding crusty things a lot of times. Either you don't know quite what they are and you have the fun of finding out, or if they're nasty and crusty, a lot of times you can get them a bit cheaper than if they were all cleaned up and restored. I found the first ever 1-notch number 5 lodge you've seen. Ah, cool. I have a 1-notch number 5 hammered lodge. And I think that's about the only number 5 1-notch I've come across. Brats are smoking now. Well, that's good. Like I said, I like mine done. Really brown the hell out of them on the outside. But I could probably turn them down a little bit more yet. Back that off. Yeah, maybe a little more even. It'll take a little bit for that pan to cool down. It's a fairly heavy pan, but it works nice. Heavy pans, they just take a little longer to heat up, and they don't cool off as fast when you turn your fire down. Yeah, $40 is a real good price for a number 4 large logo Griswold. Where's the cat? Right now she's coming around the backside of my monitor and stepping on my keyboard, which I do have off. I'm forever leaving the keyboard on, and she just got to jump on it. Mustard on brats? Yeah, I like mustard and ketchup on them. Oh, you can't put ketchup on hot dogs. These ain't hot dogs, they're brats. A little bit of ketchup, a little mustard, sauerkraut. But Kitty here is learning how to behave a little bit. You can see the spray bottle down at the bottom of your screen there, trying to get her off of the counters when I'm cooking, or off the counters in general. It's been working fairly good so far, but I think she needs a few more applications to really get the lesson sunk in. Sauerkraut should be its own food group. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, I love sauerkraut, and like I say, I make my own, and it really turns out good. Especially if you can, like I said, you can see that gallon jar there with the airlock on it. If you can do more to keep the air out of it, the more airtight, the better. Well, not airtight. The pressure has to get out when it ferments. But that fermentation crock worked really good, and I can make probably about 18 pounds at a time in that crock. Like to mix it up. Sometimes mustard, sometimes sweet baby rays, and some relish. Yeah, brown mustard is really good on brats. Good strong brown mustard, Dijon mustard. I must cold pack my kraut. Yeah. And then I can it, and I think it's about 20 minutes, 25 in the water bath canner. Yep. Sounds like it's about time to flip them again. Right, any bits that need a little more browning on any other spots here. Those are just about done. Goodwill, Northern Michigan, they botched an auction you'd won late July. 8 and 10 BSR Dutch oven pair. What'd they do? Mustard on pork, ketchup on beef. Yeah, generally. I don't use a lot of ketchup. About the only thing I use it on is brats, hamburgers, and I like ketchup on fried fish. Don't know why, I always have. It's really good. I could probably start getting my stuff ready and get those built, because they're just about done frying. Get me a beer out of the fridge. Get this put away. All right. Start slicing some buns. Get some sauerkraut on them. Turn that off. All right, ketchup. And there we go. I'll swing the camera back over by my computer. Close that up so you don't get seasick. And around it comes. Get the mic out of the way. Oops. Yeah. Do a little adjusting here quick. Get my camera level so you ain't looking at me all crooked. Oh, I gotta kill some lights. I'm coming. You can hear the cat walking on the keyboard. Yeah, you. Ah, a little dead air. There we are. And there's my brats all done. My cat just trying desperately to get some. There. Hey, get out my beer. She'll play with that little bit of brat for a while and then decide she doesn't want it after all. And got some Leinenkugels to go with it. We'll dig into one of these. Kind of roll them around a little bit. Spread the ketchup and mustard. Try not to make too much noise eating. Yeah, you're going to be underfoot now, ain't you? Anyhow, what I've been up to, cleaned up and reseasoned a bunch of the stuff that I've acquired recently. Let's see here, kind of a funny angle. There we go. And got some of those seasoned up. Kind of an interesting thing. I showed you this before after I had it out of the lye bath, that favorite best to cook in, that had a crack in it. So I got it cheap. The crack wasn't a big deal. But once I got it cleaned up and through the electrolysis, not sure if you can see that, right in here, there's kind of a weird triangular crack in it. It looks like it started off as a casting flaw, and it started to crack around that. There's a little crack that runs out to all the way out to the rim, and a couple other cracks kind of radiating out of it. And that's going to be a challenge to fix, to figure out what exactly to do with that. I've never seen a break quite like that before. Like I said, I think it started off as a casting flaw, and it became enough of a weak spot that eventually it cracked around that too. Or maybe whatever cracked the other side of it, was enough of a shock to break a weak spot. Kind of hard to say. But I'll have to find all the cracks and see what I can do as far as fixing them goes. Put it in my bottom of the pile. Get my cat out of my beer. Have another bite of brat quick. Be back up here a little bit and get caught up. Oh, what recipe do you have on sauerkraut? Do you use sugar? No, it's just cabbage and salt is all it is. A little bit of water to make sure you got enough liquid to cover it, so it is all under the liquid when it's fermenting. But other than that, it's just cabbage and salt, and that's it. The 10 disappeared mysteriously. I had that happen once. They sent me, I forget what exactly it was that I had won, but they sent me an antique camera instead of what I ordered. And I sent it back, but they never did find what the where they ended up sending the, I want to say maybe it was a cornstick pan, but they never did find that. And somebody's wondering where the hell their camera is and why they got a cornstick pan instead. Still waiting for a refund. Usually they're really good on refunds, most of the Goodwill sites, but to be fair, never had any issues before. Yeah, I mean, the few times I've had problems with them, they settled it up pretty quick, and they were pretty good about giving you a refund on it at least. Sauerkraut, is out of the can, but you can eat the whole can by yourself for the hot dogs. Yeah, it's damn good. And like I say, it's just cabbage and salt. You wouldn't think so, but once you ferment her up, it's pretty good. Most of the canned sauerkraut nowadays is more it's more pickled cabbage really than sauerkraut. They'll let it ferment for a little while just to get some flavor to it, and then they'll basically pickle it. And it's not quite the same. It's good. Some of the brands anyway are pretty good. But it's just not the same as something that's entirely fermented all the way through for 5 or 6 weeks. Losing an order, waiting for shipping is the red flag. Yeah, like, I haven't had many problems with them, but they've been fairly good with settling them up. But you always gotta be aware and keep your eyes open if things don't seem to be doing good, or if you have problems with a particular, because the Goodwill site, they're individual Goodwills across the country, and if you come across one that seems to have more problems than others, you're better off avoiding doing business with them in the future. But overall, I've had fairly good luck with them. Did that to you with an old outer heat ring Wagner, and you got a box of purses. Yeah, it's sometimes it happens, but I'd rather it didn't. Having brought some beer for dinner up in Canada, well, good for you. Let me take another bite here. You just got in from playing jarts. What'd you miss? You missed me frying up brats in my Wisconsin frying pan that Hog Wild Restoration sent me. Goodwill's mission is training marginal employees for the workforce. Sometimes it shows. Yeah, you know, you probably shouldn't have the guy that's got the shakes taking the pictures for your website, but it is what it is. Over at the Layman's Hardware, they had a cast iron potato cooker from China. Looks interesting. Huh, it does sound interesting. You have to try store bought. Mama always made great kraut. I don't because Bill doesn't like the smell. It shouldn't have a smell to it usually when you're doing it. Got a bit of kraut up in the corner of my teeth. There it is. I found a Waterman gem pan at an antique mall, 85 bucks. Wanted to make a deal, but I guess they didn't, as they don't have the gem pan. Yeah, uh, that's about what the Watermans go for. They're kind of, it varies quite a bit. Depending on exactly what style it is. But Waterman's usually 75 to 100 in there is what I usually see them selling for. The Petromax potato cooker looks good. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a potato cooker. You like horseradish with brats? Yeah, I had some horseradish mustard. I can speak. Horseradish mustard, and that was pretty good. But I'm all out of that. I have to get some more. I guess tonight's stream wasn't as cryptic as the usual videos. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. A Wisconsin pan, brats, and beer. He offered 70. Yeah, 70 would have been a fair price for it, but yeah, if they don't want to come down, sometimes there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Yeah, one little. There. Gonna be a pain, I'll get rid of you. One little flake of sauerkraut just wants to get jammed up in the above your teeth. Anyway, let's see here. I think everything caught up. Anyway, yeah, some of the other things I did. Which one's this? I got that number 7 wah pack that I got all seasoned up and used her a couple of times. Works real nice. Real nice little pan. Cooks really good. Not a whole lot of sand shift on the back. A lot of times with wah packs, you see a lot You can see a little bit around the one side there. But Wapak is really known for having kind of wavy backs to them, a lot of sand shift. Kind of interesting on the inside, a little wavy on the bottom, kind of concentric rings. Not quite sure, if they got carried away with a grinder smoothing it up inside or what the deal is, but it works really good. It's a nice little pan. Happy to have that one. And let's see here, which is that? Set that aside. I got the Findlay seasoned, but I haven't used it yet. That's Findlay, Carleton Place, Ontario. It's a number 6. And if you flip it over the other way, hopefully I can get the light right so you can see them. There's ghost marks. Here you can see it a bit. It's ghost marked Smarts. Smart, Findlay, McClary, I think they all kind of merged in the late 20s, early 30s, and they became General Steelware, GSW. But they kept making a lot of stuff under their original names, Findlay and Smarts. But a lot of the Smart stuff was made later at the Findlay foundry. And they had 3 or 4 foundries going, and they kind of went back and forth between a lot of them. And it's really a rabbit hole, but it's really an interesting one with Canadian cast iron. Like I said, I'd never seen any Canadian cast iron in the wild around here. And then I found 2 of them in about a week. I got a Javelin, and that's in the electrolysis tank right now. But that cleaned up real nice. And once I get them used, it'll look a little prettier. That's a Wapak. And which one was this? Oh, yeah. Let me get these guys out of my way. And this is that Chicago hardware favorite that I got. That really cleaned up nice. That's really a beautiful pan. Tickled to death with that one. And you can see favorite, they're known, they used a letter plate. They would cut all the letters and logos in a separate plate and set the plate in the back of the pattern because the lettering tended to wear out first. And it was easier just to pop the plate out, pop a new one in without having to rework the entire pattern. But you can see the outline of the plate around this. Then below it, there's another little rectangle. So this might have been a really old pattern, a best to cook in favorite pattern, but it doesn't really show quite enough spots where the rest of the lettering would have been. But neat to have the ghost marks and the outline of the plate on there. But yeah, that really, it's got really nice sharp letters on it, really nice shape, and it cleaned up good. And yeah, it does. It looks brand new. So I'm tickled to death with that. Bushy cat. But like I say, I'm seasoning and cleaning and seasoning and hopefully get some of this stuff caught up in my big backlog that I got. Got a lot of pans that I've got stripped off in the lye bath, but they still need to be run through the electrolysis to get the rust off of them. You have a Dutch oven with that logo. Yeah, that really it's a really nice pan. Really tickled to have found that one. Ran into a small logo button lid chicken fryer. Trying to figure out a resale price all over the place for the other ones. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Dutch ovens and chicken fryers, especially with chicken fryers with the lids. It Griswold usually. No, I don't need you chewing on me. cat distracted me. Griswold, like Dutch ovens, usually go 150, 200. Pretty much the same for the chicken fryers. But, like you say, the prices are kind of all over the place on them. So it might be tough to figure out a fair price for them if you're looking to resell it. Number 7, such a handy size. Yeah, I like 7s. They're pretty good size for most things. You just want to be violent, don't you? Your tail just going. Any information on Neuer and Nutter out of Bangor, Massachusetts? No, but yeah, there used to be tons of foundries in New England, Albany, New York, Troy, New York, Massachusetts. There used to be a lot of. Listen, you can go down and get out of the way if you're going to bite me. There used to be a lot of foundries in the Northeast, and not all of them really made full lines of things. Like Waterman, they made gem pans, but that was about it. Sometimes they only made kettles or waffle irons or things like that. So I don't know anything about them in particular. You have a favorite Pequot griddle with an eerie ghost mark. Do you know when these are made? Not right offhand, but man, corner of my eye that you always got to have something that just itches and drives me nuts during one of these streams. Not right offhand, but a favorite got bought out by Chicago Hardware in the early 30s, and they closed down entirely in the late 30s. The first catalog they put out that listed hollowware was in 1916. So generally between those two time periods, but they did make some stuff before they kind of officially started making it. I have a favorite waffle iron that's pretty obviously a lot older than 1916, but yeah, probably anywhere between 1916 and 1925 or so. It's hard to say. Well, it's going to be the early part of the 20th century regardless. Time to clean your E-tank again. The anodes are falling apart. I made up basically a sheet metal liner. I have a 65-gallon plastic stock tank, and I made up basically a sheet metal liner that drops in there and a couple of dividers so I can get 2 or 3 different things going at the same time. That works out pretty good, and so far it's I haven't had to clean the anodes off on it. You're cleaning some cornbread skillets and a little skillet, greased it up good, all of them. So yeah, I was busy. Yeah, cleaning up cornbread pans. I don't envy you. Seems like every Wapak you've seen has had ghost marks and buttering on the back. A lot of them do, especially early on. The get that again. Of course, it's just about buried. Especially the earliest styles of logo. The block logo like that, and there was an arc logo, pretty much the same way. You see tons and tons of those that were ghost marked, mostly Erie, sometimes Griswold or Wagner, and a lot of them have butter marks on them. I've got a number 9 Wapak that has a lot of butter marks on it. Yeah, they're kind of a outlaw operation using everybody else's finished skillets for their patterns, because patterns were expensive to make, and if you can just grab somebody's pan and wipe off the logo and call it your own, Have you heard of Grizzly cast iron made in the USA? No, I haven't. I haven't come across any Grizzly. I'm guessing they're a newer brand. You stay away from my Brats cat. That kitty got big. Yeah, she's growing pretty good. She's, I don't know, 8, 9 months or so by now. Not exactly how old she is, but she wasn't terribly big when I brought her in. Careful Mud, she had surgery. Yeah, I've been careful with her. I only throw her half as hard as I used to. But she'll heal up pretty good and be able to get kicked across the room when she attacks my foot again. Not that I'd do something like that. Did you catch this new video on the Wagner reissue? They look nice. I think this need to be milled. No, I haven't seen that one either, but I'll definitely have to check it out. I know the Wagner and Griswold names have been through a couple, 3 different owners in the past 20 years or so. General Housewares owned them for a long time, and then they sold off the Griswold and Wagner names to companies whose name I forget, and they kind of sat on them for a while. They use the Magnolite brand for making aluminum ware in China. It's pretty decent looking stuff, but they're currently using the Wagner Magnolite. But for a while, had the oval logo Wagner ware made in China pans. I mean, they're kind of a generic Chinese pan. They just put an oval shaped Wagner logo on them, and they weren't all that impressive. But if they've finally started making something different, definitely have to check it out and see what they look like. You got a Lodge and a Le Creuset 2-quart each this weekend, brand new, both of $15. That's real good because Le Creuset usually goes for pretty good money, even used. They're expensive when they're new, and they ain't that much cheaper used, really. I gave your dog the pretty blue Lodge one, kept the Le Creuset tomato-shaped small Dutch oven. Cool. Yeah, something like that. There's a couple of different shapes that Le Creuset makes, and they usually go for $100 on up, depending on exactly what it is and what size. Noise and Nutters made some nice peaches. I'd like to have the Dutch oven. Yeah, it hadn't. I know like I say, there used to be quite a few foundries in the Northeast. Grizzlies are all plated, if you heard right. I don't know. Like I say, I haven't heard of them. Run, kitty, run. No, she's a vicious little beast, but most cats are. They're worth having. In your opinion, not a true Wagner? Probably not. I mean, like I say, I haven't seen Luis's video. I'll have a look at it. You got one this Saturday, it was plated, and you thought it was rust. You kept scrubbing, and it turns out it was nickel. Yeah, sometimes. I also got I don't know where that is. That might be in the lye bath. What was that? Skillet of some sort I got at the same time as a bunch of these other ones. And that turned out to be plated. It was pretty, the plating's pretty much gone on it, but you couldn't tell at all that it was plated to begin with. You've been lucky about Le Creuset. All that you found has been cheap from dealers unaware. Yeah, I mean, like I say, they're a top of the line kind of brand. They usually brand new. They usually sell for $200 on up. For pretty much anything that they make. So if you could find it $15-20, you're doing damn good on it. And they seem to hold up real good. All the used ones I come across, the enamel seems to hold up really well on them. Yeah, I mean, enamel's going to chip if you bang it with something too hard, but it does. They seem to be fairly sturdy about it. Take me another bite. Try not to make too much noise eating. I hate that. I see videos people chomping and slurping and smacking on things. It just drives me nuts. And that's why I don't usually eat all that much on air. Once in a while I will, though, because you guys will let me know if it starts bothering you too much. Another thing about brats, you want to get decent buns for them. You want some good, chewy, sturdy buns to go along with them. Does it have the embossed lettered lid? Yeah, number 12, and that is the only marking on it. Huh. But anyway, yeah, I'll get some more stuff cleaned up. I gotta clean up a few more things that I'm gonna sell. I sold off most of the stuff that was pretty much easy and ready to go, and I got a few that need to be run through the electrolysis tank. They're a bit rusty and crusty, but they're not too bad. Shouldn't take too long to get them cleaned up and seasoned and up for sale. And I got a whole bunch of, like I say, a whole bunch of stuff that I've got to get caught up with my electrolysis and seasoning. Just about to start setting up so I can do some welding here. Hopefully make another welding video before too much longer. I'm going to quit trying to promise making them at any time, because as soon as I say, yeah, I'm going to make that next week, yeah, it never happens. But hopefully soon. What am I sipping on? That is Kugels. It's a local beer. They've gotten pretty big, though. Some years ago, they sold either a little less than or a little more than half the company to Miller and whoever owns Miller now. And they're doing more of the craft brewing type stuff, honey weiss and a lot of different flavors and things like that. But they've been around for like 170 years around here. They're a really, really old brewery. For years they just made their original regular beer. And in the fall they make a Bock beer, but which is pretty good. But yeah, nowadays you see a lot of them around. A lot of the flavored, different kind of craft beer type of things. So they've been doing pretty good. So I don't think they'll be in business for quite a bit longer. You drink that sometimes. Yeah, it's around. It's pretty decent beer. Like I say, a lot of the flavored ones are good. They got a summer shandy and the honey weiss. Those are pretty good. Yeah, the lemon shandy. But they've grown and spread, and you see them around a lot more places than you used to. My suggestion is most cracks will not affect functions. Generally not. You can still use a lot of cracked pans. Kind of depends on where it is, but there's always going to be a risk that the crack will start to spread from the heat stress, expanding and contracting. As long as it doesn't leak, because you don't want a pan to start cracking end up pouring a bunch of hot grease on a fire. Can get to be a little bit hairy. But generally, most cracks you can get away with, especially like a crack on a lid. You know, if you got a cracked lid, that's very seldom a problem. You had Leinenkugel's grapefruit beer. I don't like grapefruit, but you know, it sounds good. Tasty stuff for the summer. Sometimes you like an ice cold beer, especially today at 104. Yeah, it'd be a good time for beer. Not much of a beer drinker, really. What about a welded pan? Well, I weld pans, so usually they're just fine. I got a couple that I've given away, and I haven't heard back from anybody having any problems with them re-cracking. So usually, if it's been repaired right, it shouldn't be a problem at all. You try and catch up later tonight, maybe tomorrow. So mad you missed the beginning of last week's show. If you wouldn't have, you grabbed the number 9 Griswold waffle patterns, maybe tried to strike a deal. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of weird. I mean, you look for something forever and ever, and you'll finally get one. And then all of a sudden, a dozen of them will appear. I mean, you'll be tripping over them left and right. You know, I finally found that number 9 waffle base, kind of rough shape, but definitely useful. And then come across another one, you know, hardly a month later. Winter, you like Shiner Bock? Year round, like Irish whiskey? Yeah, I usually stick to the whiskey, bourbon, scotch, that sort of thing. Uh, Leinenkugels, like I say, they in the fall they make a really good Bock beer. Oh yeah, and speaking of things, there's been tons and tons of Griswold Abelskever pans on the Goodwill site this past week. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, you're going to if you're looking for a Abelskever pan, there's about half a dozen of them, I think, right now that are still up for bids on Goodwill. Does welding a pan devalue it? Yeah, but it's already cracked. You know, so that's, you know, you're already lost most of the value anyway, and you can get something back into usable condition, and that's really kind of the point of the whole exercise is things that you can use. I mean, it's nice to have, you know, to have old vintage cast iron that you can actually cook on, and you're not going to you know, you're not going to turn a $20 cracked pan into a $100 repaired pan. It's always going to be a $20 pan after that. But you'll have something that you can actually use again. You got a half gallon of cherry soaking in Everclear for 5 years. Oh yeah, cherry malts. Grandpa used to do that. Soak cherries in brandy, leave them soak for 2 or 3 years. Lots of grizz coming up on invaluable August 24th. Okay, if you're looking for Griswold, it'd be a place to look for it. You have a giant hotel Griswold? No, the biggest skillet I got is number 14. Well, I got a 15-inch newer Lodge, and I got a number 14 BSR. I do have a couple of number 16 round griddles though, but I don't have any of the really big hotel skillets. Griswold Abelskever pads are everywhere on eBay right now as well. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I said, the last probably about 2 or 3 weeks, they just cropped up all of a sudden, tons and tons of them. And Abelskevers are damn good. So if you're looking for an Abelskever pan, that'd be a good place to pick one up. Anyhow, we've been at this for an hour and 6 seconds, so I think I'll call her a day. finish off my last couple of brats. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll come up with something to talk about then. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I'll see you all later. Night.